YouTube, Computer Kid 1416 here, and today I thought we'd look at an example of an early Android phone. This is a Samsung Moment from 2009. Now, this is memorable for me because it was my first experience with Android. My mom got this sometime in the spring of 2010, and I didn't even have a cell phone of my own yet, so this was, something I used to play around with a lot. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool. I found this on eBay the other day for pretty cheap, so I thought, why not pick it up and show it for you guys. But anyway, let's look at the device itself first. It's got a 3.2 inch screen, which is even smaller than I remember it, especially by today's standards. It's got some physical buttons here. You got home, menu, and back. Of course, Android phones had most of the time I had harder buttons back then as opposed to on screen like today. You had a little black trackpad here, which is not nearly as nice to use as a trackball, but it gets the job done, I guess. You got a physical talk and hang up buttons. The hang up button also acts like a modern day power button. On the side here you got a camera button and a voice control button. This is obviously before like Google Now / Google Assistant, so this was just very basic Google Voice search. I got volume rocker here. On the back we got a 3.2 megapixel camera, which is pretty horrid by today's standards. See, it says Moment made by Google. Yeah, it came out of the box with Android Donut, but it has been upgraded. It got upgraded all the way to Android 2.1 Eclair. And the reason for the Google logo is because this includes a stock version of Android, similar to what was on the T-Mobile G1. As opposed to, like today, even today, you have like HTC and Samsung that have their own skin version of Android. No, this was a stock version, so that was kind of nice for the time. Anyway, this back panel here slides off, and you get the 1440 milliamp battery, a MicroSD card slot, which I put one in here so we could demonstrate the camera. It supports up to 16 gigabytes, which is actually what's in here at the moment. Anyway, let's put the back cover back on. And this has, which is something I actually kind of like, this has a physical keyboard. Yeah, believe it or not, I'd be curious if any of you guys agree with me on this, but I actually kind of miss on physical keyboards. I think they're a lot nicer to type on, especially as someone who was trained in touch typing. I really enjoy having a physical keyboard, actually. To be honest, I kind of miss that. I kind of miss some smartphones who used to have keyboards. But anyway, yeah, it's a pretty nice one too. They're pretty well spaced out there. Makes a cool noise too when you... Anyway. Okay, well let's go ahead and turn it on here. Forgot to mention the micro USB port there. I tried this up before the review, so hopefully it will have a good amount of battery. Samsung. Okay guys, here it is booted up. This is again Android 2.1 Eclair. And it's mostly stock, which is kind of cool, other than some Sprint apps that they added. Right here it's a widget. You can remove that just to make things cleaner. Yeah, so it's the first version of Android to support live wallpapers, which unfortunately I did not have any put on here, but it does support that. Let's see what the wallpapers were though that were built in. Yep, nothing special, but it's a 320 by 480 screen resolution, I believe. I'll put a annotation there. Unfortunately, the Google Market is no longer supported, and it wasn't until the Google Play Store only supports Android 2.2 and above, so unfortunately I was not able to load many apps on here. However, I was able to go online and find some examples of apps from the time and manually install them, so you'll get to see a couple apps that I put on here. But anyway, we got contacts. Just on the home screen here we have contacts, which I synced this with my Google account because I was curious if it would load everything, and it did. It synced my contacts, my call logs, etc. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of that, there's the phone app. Nothing special there, of course. We got email. That's my actual Gmail, so I'm not gonna load in there. Calendar. Interestingly, it did sync with my Google Calendar from my other phone. You can see. Go to yesterday here. So I forgot to mention, it is a capacitive touchscreen, but it is not multi-touch, so it's not as responsive as modern touchscreens seem to be. See, I had my Python final yesterday. I was okay at it, but I don't know, programming's never really been my thing. Anyway, let's see what else we got on here. Before we do that, let's go to the settings menu and see what we can find there. I keep wanting to pull up from the top to get to settings. That's a modern Android thing. Okay, anyway, we got wireless networks. It does have Wi-Fi, which is nice. Bluetooth. I love networking. To be honest with you guys, I have no idea what that means. I've never heard of that in a smartphone, but that's interesting. Anyway, call settings. Sound display. Now let's take a look at some of the ringtones that are on here. Some of which are nostalgic for me. Starting with the default one and the one my mom used the most. I also used to like that one. That one's still used in a lot of Android phones, and I've actually used that one before. Yeah, very cool, and like I said, that does bring back a lot of memories. Let's look at the notification tones. That's another one that is actually still used on a lot of Android phones. That last one brings back a lot of memories because it's the one my mom used. That was the default as well. Brightness, it's at the max brightness as you can see. Has GPS. Now this was the days when Google Maps and Google Navigation were separate apps, and there was also a Sprint navigation as well, which sadly I don't think works anymore. I used to use that some on my Palm Pre that I had back in the day. I did put a few applications on here, like I said, that I was able to find APKs for, but I'll get to that in a little. Work mail, which I guess is kind of like Microsoft Exchange in a way. It's like a secure email client or whatever. SD card, you can see I got that 16K card in here. 177 megabytes left of space. Yeah. I believe without apps and stuff, so I'm guessing maybe 200 to 250 megabytes, something like that. But yeah, pretty small. So you pretty much needed an SD card back then if you wanted to do anything. Then you go to your keyboard. Of course, it does have the physical keyboard, but I believe starting in Android Donut, you had the on-screen keyboard as well. So even back then, some phones didn't have a physical keyboard. And yeah, that's about it. Its technical name here is SPH-M900. If you were curious, 2.1 update 1, that's the latest version it supports. I believe I heard that someone was able to make a ROM hack of Froyo for this phone, but I didn't bother because I don't want to modify it in any way. I kind of wanted original, but anyway, Okay, now let's look at the apps. We got alarm clock, Bejeweled demo, which let's look at that. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It said, "Welcome to Bejeweled." Start trial. Yeah, it's Bejeweled, as you guys know. You can tell the processor is not the strongest by today's standards. You can see a lag there. I think for the time it was actually a decent phone though. Anyway, there's that. Looks like that robotic voice there. Let's see, browser, which I'm assuming, I mean, obviously it still works, but, well, it says, let's see. Let's try to go to a website here. Let's do the old standby Google. Okay, yeah, still works as you would imagine. Okay, sorry guys for the cut there, but let's continue on. We got calculator, calendar, camera, which let's take a look at that. Again, I mentioned 3.2 megapixel camera. Yeah, let's take a picture. And the very loud shutter sound there. And it also takes video, which the T-Mobile G1 did not. This is the Samsung Moment in 2018 camera test. That wasn't much of anything, but I just wanted to kind of see. I'm going to superimpose that in the video just now so you guys can see what it looks like. This is the Samsung Moment in 2018 camera test. Let's see, I put Facebook on here just because I was curious if it would still work, and it does, but it just brings you to the mobile app, or the mobile website, sorry. Yep, it's just a mobile website there. Okay, next we got File Viewer, Gallery, Gmail, Instant Messaging, which this was a Sprint thing. It basically allowed you to use any of these messaging services. Unfortunately, two of these three are now gone. AIM is definitely gone, MSN Messenger, and then I believe Yahoo Chat is still around. I'll put a thing saying if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's still around actually. Okay, next we got Jules, which is one of the APKs I put on here. And all these games that I put on here are from the time. They aren't new games or anything, so that's kind of cool. You guys will get to get a feel for what it was like, what the processor was like for the time. So anyway, let's do new game. Yeah, as you can tell, it's basically Bejeweled like we saw earlier, but this is a full version as opposed to the trial. Yeah, kind of a fun game actually. I think Candy Crush is a bit more fun with the way they have power-ups and stuff, but yeah, it's a pretty fun type of game. I mean, I like stuff like this. Okay, anyway, that's enough of that. Kind of brings back memories playing era games. It brings me back games from this era. It brings me back to my teenage years. Yeah, if you're curious, I mentioned my mom got this in the spring of 2010. I got my first smartphone in June of 2010. It was a Palm Pre. Yes, as much as I loved Android on here, I opted to get the Palm Pre instead because, as you guys may remember from the time, the Palm Pre was very hyped up and was supposed to be kind of the next big thing. So I jumped on that train. Unfortunately, it was not, but, you know, it was a fine phone, especially considering it was my first. I will definitely do a video on that sometime. I still have mine, but anyway. Next we got Labyrinth Light, which I do remember playing this at the time. I don't know about this phone in particular, but I know I did play this game. Maybe it was on when I got my first Android phone, but anyway, I do remember playing this. I know it's hard to see because I'm holding it. I don't know. I can't talk. Holding it horizontally because that's what you have to do for this game. But anyway, you guys can get the idea. I'm not doing very well. I'm not taking my time here. And there we go. Awesome. Okay, anyway. Next. Maps. Which I mentioned is just maps. It does not have navigation. They were separated back then. Yep. No multi-touch, so you can't do like pinch to zoom or anything. Yep, that's that. Market, which I mentioned does not work, unfortunately. Messaging, just basic Android messaging, but it's not activated or anything, so I won't be able to use that. Amazon MP3, which I tried, it does not work. Music, just lets you look at the music you have on your phone. NASCAR, Sprint like to put that on there back then. That always used to annoy me. Anyway, navigation. Let's see if this still works. I'm curious. Well, maybe it says a sign. It doesn't. Let's see. Let's try it again. Okay, well apparently navigation doesn't work. Poppy Jump, which brings back a lot of memories from my Palm Pre. I had this exact game on my Palm Pre back in the day. Oh yeah, this game was spent an hour playing this game in between classes or whatever. Didn't mean to do that. I got pretty good at it too, actually. Again, this gives you kind of an idea of what mobile games were like at the time and how this handled them, and it handled them pretty well, I'd say. Again, it was not a bad phone for the time. By today's standards, it's of course not very good, but it was decent for the time. Unfortunately, though, the lack of a Google Play Store means that this is pretty much not usable today. I would say if you were going to do like an old phone challenge or something like that, I would start with anything 2.2 and above. So basically, a little bit after this is when I would do that. Football, smart navigation, which I mentioned does not work anymore, I don't think. I believe this service was shut down a couple years back. Let me insert this information off camera. Nope. Sorry guys, it's been shut down. It says free service no longer available. I think the service in general has been shut down. Okay, anyway. Sorry about that. Let's continue with Sprint TV. This was pretty cool back in the day. This was kind of like on demand on a cable box in that it gave you a lot of different options from different TV channels. A lot of different shows from different channels. Let's see. Can only be viewed over a cellular connection. Okay, so we can't use that right now. I don't think that works in general anymore. I could be wrong about that though. But yeah, that was kind of cool for the time. Weather channel, which still works, I believe. I'm using an on-screen keyboard this time. I had a habit. I'm so used to, modern day phones, and I'm not used to the sliding out the physical keyboard. But like I said though, I kind of have a soft spot for these physical keyboards. I know they make the phone more clunky, but you know what? I'd almost be willing to sacrifice that for the typing experience of a physical keyboard. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Didn't work earlier. Let's see if we can get this to work. Nope, because it doesn't work. Oh well. That's to be expected, I guess. voice control. It's got 2 voice controls. It's got, I'm guessing this one's more of a Sprint type of thing, and this is the Google one. I don't know. Let's try both.
Please wait. Say a command.
Go to messaging.
Messaging. Opening.
That's kind of cool. Of course, nowadays every phone has their own assistant or whatever, but yeah, that's kind of cool. Back in the day, I think you can do the same thing by pushing the voice command button here. Let's try that.
Say a command.
Open phone.
Phone. Opening.
Okay, there we go. Now let's try out the Google voice search. What will the weather be like in Dallas on Saturday? Server problem. Okay, it must have been. Guess that service doesn't work anymore. It's probably too advanced of a command anyway. I think it was just like a basic. Oh, sorry. I think it was just like a basic Google search more than anything. Visual voicemail. Okay, there we go. We got one intro voicemail here.
Visual voicemail from Sprint, which lets you see who left you messages, listen to them in any order, and even pause, fast forward, and rewind them while they're playing. For important messages, you can mark them.
I want you guys to be able to hear that there. Well, that's about it, guys. So again, a kind of cool phone, especially for me. It's nostalgic for being my first experience with Android. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see more of these old phone videos, I'm more than happy to make them. I have some other phones in my collection, such as some old Blackberries, and I mentioned my first phone, the Palm Pre, that I'm definitely going to make a video on at some point. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd try something different. I kind of I've always had a interest in smartphones and phones in general, so yeah, I might do more of these sometime. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.